More music.
Hello, this is Mole Music with your hosts, Mole Justice Cow
Mole Ben.
and
Mole Hugo.
yeah, we're a bunch of underground artists talking about what we do for creativity, the things that inspire us, the things that we're working on, the things that we're looking forward to and are so annoyed by. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out on Mole Music.
Yay! Thank you
Hell
so
yeah.
much. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Well, this week's topic of discussion is what are your habits that help you with your art / help you find time to make art? In my opinion, the biggest musical accomplishment you can make is finding time to make music and enjoying it. It's not that easy.
Damn.
Neither one's
a good
that
one.
easy.
I'm sorry. Can we cuss?
Yeah. Oh, are we allowed to say fluff on this show? That sounds like fuck.
Please don't. Please don't.
Okay,
There's some
so-
sensitive people watching this.
Yeah, to everybody out there, I'm so sorry about like either fluff or fuck, whichever one was offensive to you. And I'll like next time after I find out, I'll say both of them less. But for now, I'll say them normal amount.
That's a good initiative.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you start a podcast and like at episode 2 you already get canceled or something?
Yeah. Well, you know,
I've seen it.
I mean,
At episode 2.
podcasts are like a breeding ground for bad ideas because people come on and they're like, all right, we're going to talk about music. And, you know, you do like an hour or so of talking about music. And then someone's like, well, what do you think of Spotify? And then you start talking, okay, well, you know, that's a problem with capitalism or corporations, or like you can start getting into a broader political narrative. Next thing you're talking about like the free market. Next thing you're talking about politics, revolution, and people get really offended when you start talking about like the idea of harm and harming people.
That's true.
And so I have to keep a lot of my political views to myself because they're mostly all centered around
Pro-harm.
Pro-harm. The central value is maximize harm.
Yeah.
Which,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
I was raised that way. What can I say? That's just kind of how I was raised. So you can't change an old trick. Dog.
This is a normal thing to want for musicians.
Yeah.
We all want some harm.
Yeah. And
Why else would we be here?
now that is something that is widely understood by all of our listeners, and we don't have to like talk about it too much, but
Right.
that could get us
And we are
canceled.
so grateful for them for,
Yeah.
Yes.
for being so
Oh.
understanding towards
Yeah.
harm.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you know, I do want to be canceled so that I'll be more famous and be able to tour to now an audience that isn't just there to laugh, but is there actually to root me on. It's sort of like a team sport now. It's like, hey, I'm one of the people who still likes you, even though you're maximizing harm.
Yeah. But and
They might want to see you because you're canceled too.
I'm canceled by Jessica.
I'm canceling you.
Marriage is the first form of canceling. It's like you can no longer use your body in this really important way of getting it on with strangers, your mom's friends.
We watched The Graduate like 3 weeks ago.
Is that the plot of the film?
Yeah, basically. Our marriage has really messed up my relationship with your mom's friends. What is a habit, though, that leads you to find time to make music and actually enjoy it?
Ooh, I would say one thing that I've done in the past that really works for the actual making of creative things is publicly setting a goal that is some kind of challenge, and usually just for a short sprint of time. And I made an album that way. I made a couple albums that way. I've made, like, I did a challenge. My first challenge ever with music was when I started studying songwriting at music school. I was very behind because I was like 19 or 20, and everyone in the class, it seemed, had written songs since they were for at least like 5 years on average. And So I felt like,
What, you had just started writing songs in
Yes.
that class?
Yes.
That was your first
That was-
time?
I wrote a couple of songs when I was 10, and then they were made fun of by some sibling I won't mention. And then I stopped until I was like 20 or 19.
Wow. I think I've seen some of those
Right,
lyrics.
No.
Okay, differently.
You saw
But go on.
poetry
Okay.
from high school. Very different.
Very violent.
Yeah. But yeah, so
That's the theme, after all. It's all about art.
That's where we learned it in high school.
Yeah. That's how it starts.
it's true. That's where we all began. But yeah, so I did a challenge right after my first semester taking songwriting classes where I wrote a song every day for 4 months. And most of them, pretty much all of them were, like, looking back, were really bad. But at the time, I was really making so much progress and really exploring all these different, like, aspects of music that I liked. And I felt like it really sped up the process for me, like, finding my voice.
Well, there's a challenge. That's also a 4-month commitment. So you have to have a lot of time to write a song every day. And there is diminishing returns sometimes with challenges. Like, obviously that one worked out at that time in your life.
Yeah.
It was hugely helpful. But I feel like some really big challenges, and I'm specifically thinking of the alphabet superset right now, they're a bit too big. And they become more about finishing the challenge than actually learning, in my opinion. Now, this alphabet superset's 26 weeks in a row. Each week you make a piece of work based on a letter of the alphabet, 26 in the English alphabet. So do you agree or disagree with the statement that that particular challenge is too long in scope?
I would say yes. I was totally 100% in. I was really stoked about my concept, which was to go somewhere that started with the letter of the alphabet. And I go to this place.
A for arcade,
Yeah.
B for beach.
I film.
Right, yeah.
And I write a song and I sing that song while I'm there. So I tried
Which
that.
is a really cool concept.
Thank you. And I was like, I want to get more comfortable, like, filming. I want to get more comfortable talking in front of the camera. So at the first episode at the arcade, I, like, interviewed a stranger and was just like, what do you think of this arcade? And then I got scared and only went with my friends after that. And then it got to the point where I even, like, cut out all talking and just had the song with, like, the footage that I shot there, which it kind of was just, like, changing form. And the last one that I filmed is still really good, and I haven't edited it yet, but we filmed it when we went to Colombia. We were asked to do, like, a talk there
Went
about
on a mountain.
Yeah, it's really cool. But
M for mountain.
I found I had this kind of moment of introspection with friends when we were talking about the year ahead of us in early January. And I was just realizing that my alphabet superset videos, although I like to make it and it was a good challenge and it got me out there in the world filming and collaborating with friends, it wasn't exactly like what I do on, like, my YouTube channel. And I feel like it was becoming the most of what I do because of just how many videos there are. And I got all the way, the last one I released was L for library. And that was in January, I think. And then I was just like, I really want to make another how to, like, artist
music education video. Yeah.
And so then I just decided to switch gears, and I then have had a really hard time making that video, but I'm making it, and it's going better these days. And I'm just slow because I'm got a little burnt out, I think, from making
That's interesting.
all the alphabet superset
You
videos.
I think
have-
there's value in seeing that, especially with the scope of that project having been so big.
Yeah.
See when enough is enough also.
Yeah.
And when another more interesting opportunity like presents itself.
Yeah.
Because you could have been stuck for 26 weeks or more, you know, if you miss your deadline or whatever.
Right, which I was getting very behind. And it just like there is a part of me that's like I kind of wish I had just stuck to it and got all the way to the end to just complete this big body of work. But I also think, you know, not that this is what we should be paying attention to the most, but like I think it was messing up my algorithm for the things that I like put my whole heart into later on. And it's just like it, you know, a 1 week's worth of me throwing stuff together is very fun, but it's not necessarily like what I want everyone to see the most of me doing. And like I'm for writing things fast and being creative, you know, like quickly, but I also think that like you know, my albums and the things that are like more polished are also like they take a lot of hard work, and I don't want to like diminish that with just the whole like doing this project so much that it like blots out all of my hard work, which is a weird problem.
I wonder if the platform would have mattered, like if it became more of an Instagram thing, it would have been less maybe daunting, but also it wouldn't, of course, compete with those more significant videos.
Yeah, I mean, I put it on both to be like, I'm doing things. Like, look, I look at my YouTube people, look at my Instagram people, but I don't know. I'm really happy to have officially paused it and switched gears, and I think that the video I'm working on now, How to Sufjan Stevens, is like, it's a lot harder for me too because I care so much, and which is kind of the right kind of battle to be working through, I feel.
Yeah, that's there's so many things in there that I think are super important to, as a music teacher, to think about. One was that the initial challenge did result in you pushing yourself, experimenting, and making more stuff than you normally would make, and finding new ways to make this stuff. And then you hit a point where you were starting to get behind, and being behind and having a backlog kind of crushes creativity. It shrinks the time scale.
True.
It shrinks your sense of like having time to just figure things out. And I think that's the point when the challenge stopped helping you. It's not necessarily the algorithm part. It's like right around maybe the fourth or fifth one. And so what I would say is, like, for students and stuff, feeling behind is a kind of a curse. And a lot of people, they write a lot of little song ideas, but then don't ever finish them. And then they feel bad about that. And what I like to tell people is, don't think about all your demos as a bunch of separate things. Think of them as part of one giant like research project that's going to lead you to whichever songs you finish. And that way people don't feel like, okay, I have to finish every song I ever start, or like, oh man, I've got all these beginnings, but I don't know how to finish songs. It's like, well, you're learning how to make this next song that you do end up making. I think that mentality is crucial. So once the challenges, if people use challenges as a habit to do more music, once the challenges feel like, God damn, if I don't catch up, I'm like failing, then maybe they're no longer a creative challenge.
It's no longer serving you at that point, I think.
Ego,
Yeah. And
you bring up a good point too, Ben. I think that idea of researching for songs in general is a really helpful habit in and of itself. And I think we've talked about this before, where you can have just a shared project for all those ideas.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of just like journaling them all out.
One
so it's
huge
not like,
session.
Exactly, yeah. So you don't have one project for one song, because then of course each nugget of an idea will be a new project, and then each time you look through your folder, you're like, oh, I have all these unfinished projects.
Ableton,
Right.
Ableton. Yeah, and opening them up takes a few minutes.
Right.
Don't like that.
Yeah, I think that I like to think of my little song ideas as just like, if they didn't get finished, it's just like they still helped me just like get them out and like clear the way. And I very rarely listen back to song ideas. I feel like we have so many ideas all the time, and I feel like we have this kind of like, I think because of movies and stuff, we have this idea that like there's like this one perfect song in you, one perfect album that like you like heard it in a dream and you woke up and you recorded it, and like you have to work on that one because in the dream it was like you're on a huge stage and it was like the idealized version of you, it was your future. And so if you don't work on that idea, it's like there's like a little bit of magical thinking, I think, along with like ideas having more priority, more than just like, oh, I really like this one, you know, because that you, of course we have like preferences like that, but I feel like looking at yourself as like an idea generator rather than like you're like mining for ideas through your past.
You're like an antenna that catches ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the musical Rent, one of the main characters, Roger, he has this recurring like musical theme and recurring like concept throughout his character arc where he's working on a song, and his goal is to write one good song. And like the other side of it is before he dies, because he has AIDS. And so he's like, I got to write one good song. And it's like his last year, and he's taking the whole year to just write one good song. And he like is relieved when the phone rings and he has a reason to get up and like not work on the song anymore. And it's torturing him.
Right.
He's just got this unfinished song. And then finally, like, his girlfriend is literally dying in front of him. And he's like, I just have to sing you what I've got. Here's as much of the song as I have. And of course it's magical and amazing. And in the musical, it's sort of a fantasy moment. She comes back to life and stuff. And it's just like, it's an incredible thing that happens in that show, which somehow it got like cool to think it's cheesy, but no, it's not. It's not cheesy. It's super serious and super like nuanced about talking about like an entire demographic that was widely ignored until that show came out, which is people suffering from AIDS and queer people and people of color and people who struggle with housing and artsy people and all kinds of folks who are just sort of like outsiders. They got their own damn musical written by someone like them who didn't have any privilege. No one handed him shit. He just like lucked out, you know, and got his musical out. But he died before it even came out.
He died opening day.
Yeah. So it's like,
oh damn.
It's just like anybody who has been shitting on Rent, just give it another look. Don't watch the movie. Maybe watch the original listen to the original cast recording or something. But like, damn. And I think about that sometimes when I'm thinking about like perfectionism and finishing projects, how it's not necessarily a lack of motivation, it's a lack of belief that your imperfect work still matters. People see humanity everywhere they look. They see themselves reflected in everything. And so when you present something in front of people, you don't know if they're going to like it or not, or what they're going to see. They're going to find patterns in what you do. And so whenever you try to like predict what they're going to think and control what they're going to think, you're fighting a losing battle. So perfectionism is the ultimate like losing strategy. You're never going to you're going to just luck out. If you were right, you lucked out, you know? If you were like, if everyone liked it, that was luck.
But yeah, I also think that, there's so many like examples of someone really like working something through to a point where like they don't like it anymore, and it becomes like this torturous act to finish a song, and that somehow makes it more beautiful. And I think it's just I've also heard like people like Elizabeth Gilbert talk about this exact thing through the lens of like, like the thing that you need isn't like the perfect ending to the song. It's just a little bit more compassion for yourself. And
she's the one that wrote Big Magic, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And just like giving yourself a little bit less of that really negative thought cycle that keeps crushing your next idea and your next idea and your next idea. What if it just says yes for now, yes for now, yes for now, until you have something, and then maybe an editor brain can like come in for a minute, and then yes for now, yes for now, but
very clearly separating that creative mode from the critic mode,
because they can't,
or the editor mode.
They really shouldn't ever exist at the same time. They just you feel it in your body, just being like, I'm stuck.
Yeah. There's something you said about unfinished ideas and never listening back to them. I wonder if you guys have a method for reusing that material, because I know there's also value in kind of treating it as samples for, future work in a way.
Right,
so
like
that those nuggets
back.
don't go to waste.
Yeah, I think if I'm ever in that mode, like every once in a while, I'll be like looking for a specific thing that I recorded a long time ago, and I'll like listen to a bunch of things. I make little folders inside Voice Memo that are like potential songs, like
didn't even know there were folders.
Yeah, you could do folders. And so I'll like add some stuff I'll do a little bit of sorting while I'm there. But yeah, if I heard something that's just like, hold up, this is so good, I would just write it, like while I'm listening to it and I'm feeling it.
I've got a song called Hot for Sick that was like that. I was just writing an album, and I had this like, I don't know, feeling like this sense that I should go look through, and I found like I just I heard that in there, and good thing I opened that one out of hundreds of files that randomly.
Yeah,
it does make it seem like there's a bit of fear of missing out. Like if I don't save all that stuff, then that, one of my best songs, I could just not write it. But then I think there's so much chaos in making music that you're just as likely to write your best song any other way.
Yeah.
It's like the odds are you're going to write your best song pretty soon, your next best song, because you keep getting better. And have you seen the Bob Dylan clip where he's talking about how he can't write good songs anymore? He used to write like, he wrote like Rolling Stone, or like How Does It Feel? That's Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I
Rolling
think
Stone.
That sounds familiar.
He's like, I used to write that in a day. I can't do that anymore. Well,
no.
I think that is, I trust that he knows what he's saying, but doesn't he release tons of albums still? And like, doesn't he like those songs?
Maybe it's just not. Well, I think that in his case, there's probably this whole idea, even though he has created like a body of work that's really important, like there's still kind of like a Joni Mitchell, like, but when you were young, it was really touching people thing.
Yeah. And I guess like if he does think that, if Bob Dylan's listening, and Bob Dylan, if you think that you're
you can call him Bob.
If you feel like you've lost the spark, like, please keep in mind, it seems to be a common occurrence that people like whatever piece of art you made. They like their favorite art from your work is going to be whatever they found first. That's their home base, sort of. And so since you've been alive for 300 years or something, like the people who were there at the beginning, these songs have had so much time to build up a legacy that it might make you conflate their quality, how good they are as songs, with how much people love them. And the truth is, the songs you make now are probably unique from those. You should think of them horizontally, Bob Dylan. Don't compare them vertically, because it's all just a matter of popularity at that point. And but the songs you make now, maybe they don't make the same statements as your older songs, but they do say something to people like us. It says that as you get older, you can still be creative. As you get older, you can still do the things you want in life as a musician. You get to tour all the time. It makes people see that, musicians don't just burn bright and then burn out all the time. Some of them can have careers all the way until they're in the mood to retire. Legacy artists are really important, and making new music now, Bob Dylan, is inspiring to everybody. It teaches us that life is worthwhile and interesting the whole way. You don't just run out of juice.
Yeah.
I think it's also conflating the quality of the song with its reception.
Yeah.
Not
good.
Definitely.
It's a very different thing. Like you said, this has built up so much over the years. And all that.
Are there any albums that you like that most people hate?
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, I listen to a lot of weird stuff, so
That's true.
that's
Most
fair to
people,
say.
even a popular artist like Shoo Shoo, probably most people don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. Most people
even though it's
probably don't like Shoo Shoo when
clearly
they get
good
noisy and stuff.
That's interesting. I wonder.
But you could probably say that about Death Grips and all those bands.
Yeah.
Very popular bands that probably most people wouldn't like. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Radiohead.
Well, people complain about it. People are like, I don't understand what he's saying, or they're a weird band, or I don't know. They're pretty
everyone
widely they're widely appreciated.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. It does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you have a record in mind for yourself? Is there something where you're like...
I always think of LULU by Metallica. That's my favorite Metallica album. Yeah, I think it's the best Metallica music they've made, and I don't mean that. I'm not really liking it ironically. What I hear when I hear that...
I agree with you. I actually feel this big time.
Hell yeah, that's so cool. I never talked to you about this.
We never talked about LULU, but
wow,
this is
we both like it. Okay, I can see you
like
liking it. Yeah. So here you
I
have...
don't love
it too, by
I don't
the
love
way.
Right. It's not an album
like
that you turn on all the time. It's a bit long.
No.
But
I really appreciate it for what they were trying to do. It was something
Same.
so fresh from what they did before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And very daring. They were taking
Yes.
a big risk with it.
It's so vulnerable.
It's rare to have anyone say this to me. I'm always saying this to people.
Yeah.
It's like they were being so vulnerable. They're doing precisely the thing that you're supposed to do to make good art, and they did it. And then it was met with so much terrible criticism.
But the people who know,
Yeah.
like David
it wasn't
Bowie,
what they always did.
David Bowie called up Laurie Anderson, Lou Reed's. Well, everyone knows Laurie Anderson, but they were married. Lou Reed and Laurie Anderson were.
Yeah.
And David Bowie calls up Laurie Anderson after Lou Reed died and is like, that album he did with Metallica, LULU, that was really special. And I think that's a very credible opinion from David Bowie. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it. When else are you going to see a band that's never recorded themselves improvising and jamming before, recording themselves improvising and jamming, while Lou Reed, who they all adore, is professing about feeling old and infertile and emasculated in metal? In a metal track? He's talking about, and I fell over. And he's like, spermless like a girl. We know women can have sperm, but if you pretend there's a, like, if you put yourself in his head, like describing the feeling of, as somebody who feels like a man, like feeling not like a man and feeling dried up and wow, it's like really vulnerable and crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I was going to have to make the point, but Hugo.
No.
We all agree.
We all agree.
Mole
Hell
approved.
yeah.
All approved. Yes. This is
your mole recommendation for the week.
Lulu, check out Lulu by Metallica. Yeah. No,
There you go.
I hope that album gets some like renewed attention before Metallica stops being a band. Just because I think they deserve, like, I think first of all, Metallica is just a bunch of old friends who are still making music together, who they got super rich and super complicated lives, you know, from being Metallica. But like, it's a good thing. It's a wholesome thing in the world that folks like that work through their problems and stay together. And on top of that, to take such a huge musical risk, I want them in the world to see that good things happen when you go and try something like that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, right now, I'm sure they're all proud of it. It's.
I don't know.
If I made it, I'd be proud of that.
I feel like
They
just
probably got to work with their hero too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they probably have like it split in their minds. Like they have their experience of what it was to make it, and then the audience response, and they probably don't even know how to like, you know, like casually respond when someone brings it up. They probably just are like, yeah,
Can you address a message to Metallica? So if Metallica's listening.
Metallica, we like Lulu the most.
Yeah, and it's not because your other albums are bad or anything.
No.
We're not saying that either. It's just you really nailed it.
You went there.
You went for it. And I think it turned out really good. Like there are some moments where it like doesn't quite work, but those are maybe the best moments, because when do you get to hear something like coming with so much confidence and so much courage, make it out into a recording like that, you know, the courage to do something that you have no, like, how do you measure that? How do they know if it's good or not when they're using their, like, how's their internal measuring stick supposed to work to know if that's going to be well received or not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going off of old success and being like, let's do that thing again because it'll work, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. It is
total opposite of commodifying their music in a way.
Yeah.
There's Polyphia, no offense, and then there's Lulu by Metallica. Very different feelings. Both are like, you know, super opulent forces. But if Polyphia goes and does something like Lulu, I'm gonna be a happy boy.
Yeah, that would be very exciting. I mean, honestly, metal bands in general, just going very vulnerable and talking about things that nobody talks about instead of like pain and gore.
But I think that happens. I do think that happens a lot.
I'm sure there's so much music.
I think that's a more recent thing.
Yeah.
But like, I'm thinking of the band that I opened for the other day.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen in like old bands, I guess, is more the thing.
There's
like established bands where like they found their thing, their corner, their niche of the metal area, genre.
Metallica.
And you know, they're churning them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Metallica has a lot of incentive to just go make the next Metallica record. There's a lot of people on the payroll, you know.
Yeah.
But we like this band, Actor Observer. They're a metal band. They talk about all kinds of really cool topics, like they're talking about masculinity and stuff. They talk about addiction, alcoholism. But, you know, these are common topics in metal. I don't want to make it seem like...
That's true.
Yeah.
It's just nice when it happens, because it didn't used to.
Yeah.
Back when we were in college, metal was all about beating your chest and being like the most brutal.
Yeah.
And it was like the musical equivalent of dead baby jokes. But now it's, you know, it's evolved with the times.
Yeah.
Right.
Shit.
Speaking of habits,
Ooh. You got one?
Well, I'm kind of curious what you guys do to get, because we kind of spoke about habits in the sense of like making your practice a habit. But what are some habits for you outside of that? More like lifestyle habits that get you into that creative flow, or just keep you into a healthy, body mindset that ensures that you can go back to your music.
Well, I've had the experience of working when I'm feeling well and working when I'm sad. And those two things are really different. So when you're feeling pretty well and you're trying to give advice on like habits to make music, it's kind of hard to give the right advice because I would see it like this. You have two modes. I'm oversimplifying life here for educational purposes, but you have your period of chaos and your period of order. So the period of chaos is when you're sad, you're angry, you're anxious, things aren't going well. And then you have your period of order when like all you're really thinking about is the art. Like while you're working on it, it's really just about like the problems within finishing the work. So when you're working on the problems within finishing the work during a period of order, what you need to do, in my experience, is you just need to be hydrated and you need to have the first thing you do in the day be related to the work. There's other theories. There's like morning pages. There's the idea of exercising. Yeah. There's the idea of eating a good breakfast, morning routines. Those all work for people. For me, it's the very first thing of the day is if I'm working on an album, sit in front of the computer, open the DAW, get into a track. It's got to be while my brain is decluttering and kind of like forming into a full human, like during that sleepy thing. If I can be in the working mode while that's happening, especially for art, because a lot of people have a day job the rest of the day. So this is a really important time of the day. When you get home from work, you're going to be too tired probably to be as productive, even in a period of order. So in the period of order, first thing you do when you wake up, you get in there. When you're in a period of chaos, you sleep. You just rest. And I feel like that's when the essentials like mindfulness and nutrition and like social life matter the most, more than like any certain musical process. So during a period of chaos, like if someone invites you to a concert, just say yes. No matter how bad you feel, just go. If anyone invites you to do anything, just go. You'll be surprised at what happens when you go and interact with people. You can be surprised by what they do. Mindfulness. Think about the food you eat as you eat it. If it's too shitty for that to be pleasant, then that's like one of the areas to work on, is try to go out and get the groceries you need to make food that you'd want to think about. And then, that's really like eating well and mindfully eating, plus getting out and like going and interacting with people. That's like, I think, my best advice for period of chaos. And that was basically me this last 2 weeks. So I'm pretty fresh on it, and nothing like period of chaos does not resolve quickly or easily. Usually it's just
right.
One day, like one moment you kind of realize like, oh, I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah. Kind of like after you're sick, when you're just like, wow, I guess I'm done coughing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're just like, wait, I haven't coughed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you always wake up and go straight to the DAW?
Pretty much.
Sometimes you warm up on the piano or something.
Yeah,
first,
but I always go straight into music. I mean, since I've been doing the bangers, the YouTube, and for anyone who doesn't know, I'm doing 20 bangers in a row. It's 20 weeks of YouTube, working 5 days a week on YouTube. I'm on banger 11 right now, And
Very nice.
that
Congrats.
thank you. That's get in front of the computer from Monday through Friday, first thing in the morning, definitely. And I work until
Oh yeah, so it's straight to YouTube at that point.
So it's like
Oh, wow.
8 a.m. I really recommend people try this. Like I think sometimes it just seems like a bad idea, and that's like when you should definitely do it. Like just like go like if you can jump into a cold shower, sometimes that really wakes you up. Well, this is, I think, more comfortable than that, and lots of people take cold showers. But yeah, you just like you're just like feeling nothing. You're not feeling excitement. You're not feeling curiosity. You're just like, I open I turn it on, I open it. Let's open the file from yesterday and listen to it. And then before you know it, you're working on it. That's how it works for me most of the time. And so 5 days a week, I'm getting into it. First thing in the morning, 8 a.m. Then around 10 a.m. is when my doggy wakes up. He comes down the stairs. I let him outside.
So cute also.
That time, yeah, there he is.
He comes down the stairs like diagonally
Hey.
so he can like head towards Ben. It's so cute.
That loaf.
Nice.
Good job.
Here, you scooch a little.
Hell yeah.
Look at this little guy.
I'm going to
His
run out
little
of...
face.
Surprise!
Yeah,
All this
wow.
time there was a fourth mole.
Yeah, he's the mole. He's the
such a
ultimate
mole.
mole. Yeah. So, not to break the fourth mole, but that's my story, though.
Yeah. It's really...
I think that's really
yeah.
interesting to get into it like that, though, because, of course, the way you describe it, it sounds like a drag and like you don't really want to start working because you're in that headspace. But also, I feel like that's a moment where your inner critic is actually just totally off.
Yes.
Totally.
You're just, yeah, exactly. Your brain is like reforming around the activity you're doing. That's why I think it's really bad to watch like YouTube or start the day with like any sort of social media at all because,
Right, or playing
it's-
video games or something.
Yeah, just I just started watching The Three Body Problem on Netflix because I like sci-fi stuff, and I was like, this is supposed to be like one of the best books ever. Let's see if Netflix like really, made a dumb show. I gotta find out because I'm bad at reading,
Yeah.
and I don't know the book at all. I don't know anything about it, so the story is great. It's like I'm not comparing it to a book. I'm really interested and intrigued with what this show is about. If I start that in the morning, all I'm going to think about the whole day is that stuff.
Right.
All that conflict,
Yeah.
all that mystery. And
That could be a song, though, maybe.
the thing is, that's a good activity for 11 p.m. till midnight. Because that is when I'm way too tired to think of anything new or creative. I don't even... that's the opposite of waking up in the morning. I'm deforming. My brain's just like falling off.
Yeah.
So then when I watch the thing, it's not the best to watch it right before bed because then I'm thinking about it instead of sleeping. But like, let's say 10 to 11, I go to bed at midnight. That's the perfect
I
time.
would love to try your routine.
Yeah, well, I think you would thrive.
That'd be
if
funny.
did
You
it.
could swap routines and then see
No,
how.
Ben would not.
I can't swap. I can't.
Ben can't do mine.
I can't do anyone else's routine.
It's very chaotic.
Ben's
Ben has found his path. He's sticking to it.
Ben is on his path. He's sticking to it. I've been unlucky in a couple ways. I've historically been bad at getting back to people. I've been unorganized in anything that's not related to my music. I've been too stubbornly artsy and missed a lot of opportunities to solidify my business. I've been too tunnel visioned. But the way that I'm lucky is that I've never struggled to start or finish working. And I know that's most people do. But so many things I look back and I totally punted so many times business-wise, career-wise, big punts. And nobody's perfect. It's a balance.
Sure.
All right, but Hugo, what about you? What about you and habits? What have you experienced?
Actually, the morning pages you mentioned, I've done for a very long time, for many, many years. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little stack of booklets right there. like 2 rows.
Yeah.
That's just years of journaling in the morning.
Awesome.
So I've done that for a very long time, which was nice to get into the flow. But I've realized that none of that ever translated, interestingly, to material. Maybe none is an exaggeration. Maybe 1 or 2 ideas translated to a song. So I find it interesting that you find that starting on opening your DAW and doing that kind of thing led to actual work. Because for me, it's kind of been like, yeah, I've been writing lyrics in a way, free-form lyrics, but it's never become a song for me.
Well, maybe the reason I'm extra curious of how you would do with it is because we're all 3 of us are such big David Lynch fans.
Yeah.
Because when he describes transcendental meditation and getting the big fish in that state, that I would say like the closest I can relate to that is maximum sleepy but waking up, not falling asleep but waking up. That's like the most I can relate to it, because when you're doing the journaling, you kind of feel it too, where the words just sort of form and the ideas start to form and the words just keep coming. And while doing that with sound and with singing, like, gibberish, all that, it's the same kind of stuff happens. Hineni's visiting, so maybe we'll do Hineni solo. We'll get the treats over there, and
You
he'll.
may have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I think he might want that. He also might want to play. But let's get Hineni
This is
solo.
the Hineni interlude. Very important part of the show.
Yes! Good boy, Hineni. Good boy.
Oh yeah.
He loves his peanut butter treats. Yeah, you want to eat into the mic for everyone to hear? Good job. Off. Yay! Okay.
Well done.
I'll go pee-pee. Oh, you want him to play the piano?
Yeah.
Okay. Up. Up. Yay!
Yay!
Oh, he played an altered chord. Good job. Wow,
Nice.
that's the first time he's done that. Let's do that again. That was cool.
I
Okay.
can hold mine.
Up. Yay! That's so cool. New trick. Good job, Hineni. Okay, go pee-pee.
A new prompt too. There you go. It's your
That was
starting
awesome.
chords and go.
Yeah, that's a video. That's a really good video. Go pee-pee.
There you go. You could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I could
Banger
definitely do that.
number 11.
Yeah, number 12. I got.
12 even.
I'm almost done with 11.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah. Damn. Like, that was cool. You just played great.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So
Good
you
job,
mentioned Big
Ian.
Fish
My dog,
earlier.
Yeah, my dog plays. Good.
Wait, who mentioned Big Fish?
You mentioned Big Fish. David Lynch's Big Fish.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
So I was curious where you were going with that.
Oh, just like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, in the morning, that's how I relate to what he's describing of, like, getting into his deepest ocean down deep in his consciousness. I'm like,
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
like dreaming is like that. And I just have finished dreaming. And you know how when you finish dreaming, you still, like, feel some of the feelings, or, like, some of it kind of circles around?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I just get up, I look at my phone to make sure I know what time it is, and I do some other stupid things. But then my body's going straight down here. Maybe I'll get water first. Depends. I recommend the water first. But yeah,
Water's good.
That's cool.
I think people should try this, because I have a theory, and this is just like kind of made up. It's just like a thing I think maybe is true. I have a theory that it's actually fairly easy to make stuff, and that it's mostly just like social, like society life experiences that make it seem like it's some sort of like special process that requires any sort of warming up. But I think it's a lot like, I think it's just always there. And we use it all the time, and we use it when we're not trying to use it. It just sort of like happens. When you catch yourself daydreaming, or when you're tapping along with the turn signal in your car, or when you're remembering something and just imagining what you would have done different. and like all this different like, you know, creative stuff that's just built into our basic way. Even looking at the refrigerator and being like, with these ingredients that I have left, what am I going to eat now? And like, it's not that different than making music.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually really, really interested to try your method of starting on the DAW. I wonder if that would change. Well, without a doubt, it would change things.
What do
It'll
you
feel different.
What do you say we all do Ben's morning, and then we check in 2 weeks
Next
I
time.
love that.
see how it went?
That sounds so interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only person I know
That'd
who
be a
does
fun
it.
experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You try it at home too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments.
My favorite thing
How
about
you
it,
feel.
my favorite thing about it, like why I would love to find out that it worked for you guys, is because so many people, they go to work and they come home and feel tired, and then they want to practice, but they don't feel motivated. And it's like, if we all just became morning makers, and didn't even attempt to make anything at night, I think that would be good. And it's good for like people with kids and stuff. I think, you know, I don't know.
There is like I think it depends on the age of the kids.
Yeah.
But it sounds like for people whose kids are in middle school or high school, because they start having that like later nocturnal
School bus
schedule. Or going to school, right? But I think a lot of people, even parents, have a less busy morning if they wake up early enough. You know,
yeah,
like,
it's hard to wake up early, especially when it's still dark out. Like everyone's always saying, you know, all like the tech bros and like productivity people are saying, oh, I wake up at 5 a.m. I wake up at 5 a.m.
I did a marathon this morning at 5 a.m. What did you do?
I like that. Like ideally it would be, you know, sick, but then guess what? If you wake up at 5 a.m., you have to go to sleep at 9, right?
Yeah.
9
Pretty
to 5.
much, yeah.
So going to sleep at 9, that's
you
really
want to get a good night's rest.
That's
for sure.
restrictive. That's
You
restrictive.
can't go to any shows.
Yeah,
If you go to sleep at 9.
I'm a 12 to 8.
There's that too.
I'm midnight to 8 has been my thing for a while, and the reason I like that, you know, you might have to adjust this an hour or two for your life, whatever people got going on. But what I like about that is let's say on the weekend you end up staying out till like 1. Well, you're not so screwed up. You know what I mean? Like even if social reasons or music concert reasons make you stay out later, you're not so screwed up. But if you go to sleep at 9 every night and then you just have a normal weekend night with friends, you're like wrecked, and that fucks up people's Sundays. The real reason they hate Sundays is not necessarily because work's the next day. It's because they don't feel like energized enough to imagine taking on a whole other week. A lack of energy. I mean, I feel that even with my YouTube thing. Like if I'm not like resting on Sunday at all, and I don't feel regenerated at all on Sunday, then I'm like scared because every week I'm thinking of a new video from scratch, and I'm like, damn, how am I going to do this?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we should hop on to a section we like to call
Ooh.
Show and Tell.
So this week, what have you done, Jessica?
So I've been doing a couple different things. I have been working on my How to Sufjan video, and I finally started making progress on the music. Nice. I wrote this really good first part, and I made the mistake of showing a bunch of people, and then I was like,
why was that a mistake?
Because of this thing that I have learned, which I am very happy you asked, because it's very important to know the psychological trick that happens when you talk about something that's not done yet, or you show something that's not done yet, which is that you get rewarded, and then you don't have as much motivation to finish it. Or what happened in this case, which is I got scared to finish it because the beginning is so good, and it's just like, how do I finish this really good song that I've written, instead of getting to a place where it's all just like, it could be like a very bad version, but at least it has all the sections, and then showing people.
It sounds like you have the Bob Dylan problem. Your
little
past
bit.
success is weighing you down.
Yeah, for
He doesn't
sure.
make music like that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, like I did.
Wouldn't that be so
a
funny you
month
say
ago
that
or whatever.
about like the
things you
outro
made last
of
week.
your
Yeah.
song?
Oh, I used to make really good songs last week. Now, not
It
so
is
much.
like that sometimes, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
It's
Yeah.
Certainly does feel that
Man,
way.
I used to be good at this.
Yeah. And like the thing too was the first person I showed was my friend Kristen, and I was feeling like just like I could just toss the song, throw it away. I was not feeling good about it. Then I showed my friend Kristen, and she was like, "This is so good." And I was like, "Oh, it is?" And she's like, "Yeah, like I've never heard a song about this stuff before." And I was like, "Yeah, me either." And like I was just like, "Oh." And then I showed Ben, Ben's like, "It's really good." And then I was
That's
like,
what I'm like.
"Okay." You did say it like very
Everything.
you were like, "It's really good." Like you had like this like seriousness to
Yeah.
it that when you said it.
Yeah.
And then I showed too many people. And then I was
Right.
like, I don't know how to finish this thing.
Now we're in show and tell.
Yeah.
And you're just showing and telling even more.
But
Oh wow. Yeah.
the big thing is I'm not showing you the actual song, which is good for my brain.
Nice. Yeah.
And it felt so good to make progress, and just like I showed it to Ben again, and I was just like, what do I dang do? And Ben was like, maybe this stuff, maybe this stuff, maybe this. And then it kind of led me to this realization, like a new light bulb thing that I can add to the video, which is when Sufjan like has an instrument enter, he keeps that instrument in. And like, so if you have like
For the rest of the song.
pretty much, or at least for like that section, the next section. And so he like makes really good use of it after it's entered.
Right.
And that just made a path for like how
Nice.
things can change in a big way. Just kind of slowly sprinkle things in. And then when I started doing that, things started to click. So I'm feeling pretty good.
That's awesome. I'm very curious now
Chewing
for
a
the song.
drumstick.
I think most people will be.
Hinani's chewing.
Well, it
a
might be
drum-
out
a
when this is
drumstick.
out.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Oh,
probably
interesting.
not.
Yes.
I
It's
still need to have
possible.
friends sing on it. So
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long video process. It's like it's an ambitious format because
Yes.
it's,
They're ambitious videos. I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah.
you know, that's a big thing to make.
I think if you make this one and you just go right into another one, you'll just do it twice as fast.
Oh, it'd be so
Right.
good to. I think. Okay, I've been thinking about the next one. Thinking about beach house.
Ooh.
Thinking
nice.
about Saint Vincent.
Good one.
Thinking about
Nice.
Dirty projectors.
Dirty Projectors. That's for sure. And Caroline Polachek.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about all of those as
are good.
possible next ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
Awesome.
that the easiest one would be Caroline Polachek.
Yeah. I've been working on singing like her for like 3 months now.
Yep.
So
And she uses so many
kind of warmed up.
so many distinct
Nice,
techniques.
yeah.
Yes, she does.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
there isn't like a mushing together all the time. Sometimes it's like, like the whole hook is like a technique, and
Yeah.
it's also
Right.
I
Very
love
Very
some of
specific
the
vocal
things
things.
that
Yeah.
a lot of making these videos is like discovering what an artist is doing that I don't do or like I haven't done before. And I think that's like probably one of my favorite things is like, wow, Caroline Polachek just like really likes things that like have been out of date for 25 years. Like no one wants to do them at all. Like have MIDI guitar featured and like orchestra stabs. She's like, give me that. Give me that. I'm going to do a bagpipe solo like featured in the biggest single. Just, it's just like no one's doing that. And she's like, yes, which
Yes,
I
please.
think is
Yeah.
so
More of that.
badass.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. But that's
Well, speaking of habits, I have been changing my approach to music making a little bit. I bought a push end of last year, and I finally decided, you know what? I need to stop making music in my DAW. I need to just put this push in front of me, and we're going to make the music through the push.
Cool.
So that's what's been up, really. I'm just trying to learn this damn thing, and it's a little complicated. It's weird.
Bet. Yeah.
I'm not used to it.
The push is pushing on your tush.
It's pushing back.
Nice. That's interesting. So what is it? Is it the menu system?
Yeah, it's mostly like you can't really have an arrangement view, and that's how I usually make music. I don't know how familiar you are with Ableton or anyone that's listening, really. In Ableton, you have an arrangement view, you have a clip view, which is basically your idea generation view, if you will. But so that's what the push is based around, because it's a really good view for also performance. You can click which clip you want to play together with which other clip, and you can like switch those up whenever you want.
Yeah.
It's a very non-linear way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a bit of rethinking how to approach the music making in general. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how that impacts the actual songs you make. Like, you'll probably make stuff that you wouldn't normally make. That's typically what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably like the length is less like set in stone too, I bet, with that.
I think especially the struggle is in transitions also, because it's so loop based. There's a tendency to be like, okay, we'll just let this loop play, and then, you know, when that's done, we'll go off to this next section. And it's tricky to find a way to bridge those gaps between them.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I could imagine it being interesting to like get all the songs as far as you can on the push, then bring them in to the DAW.
Yeah, and polish them up in a DAW properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just
Maybe-
get a cool skeleton in there.
Yeah, like maybe you demo it out on the push.
Right. Yeah. And ultimately, I mean, the goal is to be able to use this thing live. So either way,
nice.
it's just being able to understand this as an instrument more than anything.
That's cool.
So that'll be good. Yeah, I'm curious where it can take me eventually.
That's a big change. I'm so used to screens now, but yeah, I used to record on a 4-track like little Boss recorder, you know.
Right.
It's different.
Yeah. That's fun stuff. Huh. How about you, Ben?
I am writing. So I made a video recently called No Guitar in My Dream Band. And in it, I suggested that a really cool arrangement for a band would be 2 bass 6 guitars and drums. The bass 6 is like a guitar bass hybrid. So you would get really like all the options that 2 guitars and bass have, but with just 2 bass 6s instead. And I was writing this music for the video, and then I decided to write like a whole album with this arrangement, and I'm going to record it in May. And I've written 9.5 out of 10 songs for it. And
oh, wow.
And they're really, really cool. And the internet and life and like what I want from music and what I want to do and everything is telling me to like make this a real band. So I'm thinking of making it a real band. It'll be me, Jessica, and a rotating drummer. I think the way I'm going to get around touring is basically to make live in-studio performance videos and then like premiere them in a cool way where I really promote the premiere, like the online premiere, and I like say, you know, the band's about to go on, and I like have lore for the band. Like,
yeah.
Like we might do like virtual tours that I animate, like it shows us. I don't know. There might be like, I'm thinking though of how to do this, taking the best parts about being in a band, which is playing music with other people for audiences, and removing the worst parts, which is, well,
The bathrooms, honestly.
the bathrooms on the tour. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like kind of getting, you know, I don't like playing local shows once a month because I feel like it's really hard to get people to come. if they went last month, it's
Right.
hard to get them to come back. And it's also hard to make enough progress in a month that it's worth anyone seeing the show like that soon. So I don't know.
The next following month,
I don't know how I'm going to do the live thing. But there's going to be improv in this band. There's going to be jamming. There's going to be these 10 songs. So that's a really big thing I'm thinking about. And it seems like everybody who's heard my bass 6 concept is like, that's pretty interesting and different and wants to hear more. So I'm getting a lot of good feedback on it. And writing the songs has been incredibly easy.
They're really good. Really cool, really good songs.
I mean,
that's cool.
You got 3 tracks, right? Like, well, and vocals. So 5 tracks because it's my vocal, Jessica's vocal, 2 bass, 6, and drums. So that makes it easy to write the songs. I mean, it's just like.
You like the heavy constraint of it, or?
Yeah, it's got everything you need, really. Like, if I want to go wide, I just put like a chorus, a widening chorus on the second bass 6, the one that's plugged into the guitar amp. If I want to go even wider, I do 2 vocals, mine and Jessica's at the same time. If I want to get really quiet, that's a piece of cake. If I want to get really loud, I mean, it sounds really intense when the bass 6 that's plugged into the bass amp is going dun 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 dun, while the bass 6 that's plugged into the guitar amp is playing power chords up an octave from that. Dung 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 dung. It's really thick, and the drums obviously can get really big.
Right.
So it really covers a lot of what I need dynamically. The only thing I wish and pads you can do with guitar too. But the only thing I wish was available was just every now and then it'd be nice to have keys. But that could be in a future iteration of the band where one of us doubles on one of the keyboards we have, But
I was going to say, would you be opposed to just adding some of that in?
No. On the album, yes, but in future albums, no. This one, I'm like going to be a bit of a zealot about no overdubs because I think there's something here. And Brad, the producer, mixer, and probably engineer for this, is fully comfortable with this type of vibe. Like, this is pretty much his home base. And the drummer is really like good at orchestral thinking, so he's going to fill in a lot of the space. And that's part of why I picked this drummer. He's Kyle Harris. He's played on a lot of my stuff. And there's an argument to be made for a like less good drummer than him to play on it, but he's the guy because there's so much space and he's really good. He's like good at playing sparse too, but he's really good at orchestrating within that space. I mean, he plays in Blue Man Group, for instance, and thinking like Blue Man Group arrangement style. I mean, that's a really big sound. So that's cool. Exciting, very exciting.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Really loving these songs. They're very sad, most of them, except for one. And it's cathartic. Feels good.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, y'all.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well.
The end.
The end. If you want us,
the end.
We're going to do a segment called Dig of the Week. So if you want us to... the Dig of the Week is basically going to be like if you write a question to us, we'll be responding to audience questions and maybe for Patreon through Patreon or something, but we'll know more about that soon. But just keep an eye out for any announcements about the Dig of the Week.
And if you have any questions, get them to us.
Comment.
Absolutely.
Comment your questions. We'll figure out a way to get them answered. Probably. Actually, very likely. Yeah. There's probably not going to be too many comments on video number 2. So if you're commenting now,
we're probably going to get to it.
We're going to know you like
this
the
is
back
this
of
is the
my
moment.
hand. Bam.
This is the moment to be commenting.
This is
Yeah.
the
Because
moment.
as soon as this pops off,
Yes.
and you know it will.
With titles and thumbnails like habits that help you make creativity, it's gonna pop off.
Yep. The 4-hour musician work week.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, the 4-hour musician work week. In
Oh
case
my god.
for all those people who feel like they're working on music way too often,
Yeah.
this will help you work only 4 hours a week on your music.
Yeah.
The rest of the time you'll
It's gonna
toil.
be great.
Yeah.
You'll be toiling in the muck.
With your hair and your furrowed brow.
Yeah, we're gonna love to see you. We are gonna love to see you back here every week, 2 weeks. Watch our podcast. Thank you for being here.
All right.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Cause we want